I want to know, what are the odds that the name Elio is an homage to Elliot from ET?
That's 100% odds.
Is it? Is it really? Oh wow! Because I was talking to everybody about it. I was like, "That's got to be from Elliot."
Absolutely.
And nobody else was like, "No."
I think there's even a teeny little. This is like the most nerdy. I remember when we were choosing the coloring for his socks and shoes.
Yeah.
We were like, "This is the color from at least one scene in ET." I think that's right. Although I'm not sure if we changed that. Anyway, of course, we were hugely inspired by ET and Spielbergian films in general. So yes. 100%.
Oh, I can't believe I just scooped that. I wonder, do you each have a character in mind that you think will be most popular with audiences once they have a chance to see the film? Because there's a lot of aliens to choose from.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Glorden's going to be a fan favorite. Elio's first best friend, because he just looks really, really scary at first, but then when he starts speaking, he's so charming, so cute, and the things that he says, the weird stuff that he says is just really funny. And he's gonna be everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I think his surprise hit, which no one's really talked about him yet, is Ambassador Helix. He's the one who first says, "Okay, bye, I love you," back to Elio, and there's just something about the way he's animated. His voice is really funny. He's just one of my favorite aliens. I think he's so charming. Yeah.
There's so many. We were just talking about this, but I'll go with Ooh. I love Ooh. She's so charming. The design is adorable. I just love the animation. I love the deadpan that Shirley does. So I hope to get a plush Ooh for myself.
I definitely was feeling like I liked Ooh the most when I was watching the footage. Now, Elio's connection to space stems from loneliness and wonder. How did you approach showing this childhood grief without it getting too heavy for younger audiences?
Yeah, I mean, we're always very careful to do our research, so we make sure that, we talk to experts, we talk to loneliness psychologists about children's loneliness and grief in particular. But I think what is important about Elio is that there are layers to him. So when you first meet him, and he's trying to get abducted on the beach, you don't get to see that lower layer. You just see that tenacious, curious, determined kid, and you love him for that. You love that light side of him. So when you finally are able to dig in a little deeper to his vulnerabilities, when he's talking to Glorden, his first best friend, I think you're ready for a little bit more heaviness. But it is a delicate needle to thread.
And I think we did a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
We rewrote, we experimented, we boarded whole versions of how far back do we start the movie? How much do we actually see? How much information
does the audience need? So
we would write it up. We'd me and Maddie would quickly storyboard and cut it up and just
and we're
watch it.
Oh, too
we're
heavy.
Whoa, this is really heavy to start a family movie.
Yeah, but you have to try. Try everything.
You have to try everything, and we sat with it and edit. We would pull in other directors. We'd pull in Pete. We'd pull in Andrew to look at it, and we'd all be trying to watch it and feel it and be okay, are we emotionally on board with this character, but not so traumatized and devastated that we want to turn off the movie and go cry in our room for a bit. But it's that fine balance, but I feel like a lot of Pixar movies are able to do that somehow.
Yeah, and speaking of, just for fun, which Pixar movie has emotionally wrecked you the most?
So many.
You know what's funny is that I worked on Coco, and I would see every screening of it as I was storyboarding on it, and I cried every time. It was it didn't matter how many times I'd seen it and how much I knew it was coming. I'll cry every time when he's singing, Hector's singing to baby. Well, spoilers. Just kidding. Watch the movie.
Inside Out. I worked on it too as a story artist, but it's always it's not the Bing Bong scene. It's the scene after where she's crying in front of her parents that always gets me. Yeah. Because it's very it feels very real. Yeah. And it's really her voice is so soft and vulnerable, and it just feels like a very real, well observed moment between a kid and her parents.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'll say Married Life. I mean,
Of course.
Yeah, Ira Glass was here, and he's like, "Who does that in the first, 5 minutes of the movie or whatever?" But yeah, it's so powerful.
Yeah, I hate you guys for doing that to me. But anyway, thank you so much for your
Oh,
time.
thank
I
you
really
so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank
Nice to
you.
meet you.
First off, I wanted to say I'm very excited to meet you because I read that you worked on Ghostbusters 2, which
Yes,
is like
that's true.
which is the first movie I ever saw in
Oh
movie
my
theaters.
gosh.
And so I love that movie so much. And
Oh,
when I read
well,
that you
thank
worked on it, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to meet
It was
you.
a fun movie to work on.
Oh man, I can only imagine. Now, for Elio, I know you guys were inspired a lot by macro photography, and I wanted to know what's the most bizarre microscopic organism that directly influenced the design, because there's a lot of weird looking stuff
Yeah.
when you look under a microscope.
I think it was the tardigrade for Glorden. Those are so odd. Before working on this film, I had no idea they even existed, and it was kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, that's not microscopic because you can't
Oh.
see it in a microscope. But I was gonna say, I think the thing about Harley is that he would bring reference also of like mold, and if you look at mold, it's very disgusting. But through Harley's eyes, it's actually really beautiful.
It's kinda beautiful,
and
yeah.
right?
When
Isn't
you see
it?
it up close,
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing. So
Yeah.
Wait, now I'm curious. If you can't see them under a microscope, how do you see them?
Oh, it's like nano microscopes. I don't know.
Oh.
It's very small. Like it's
yeah, I didn't even realize that.
super small.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, was there ever a visual idea that you guys came across that was too wild or not beautiful enough for Elio's space world that you were like, that's a little too grotesque?
Almost everything was on the table. It was almost the stranger the better. I think there were some things that I shied away from if the source was just too gross. It's like you don't want to tell somebody that's bacteria on rotten meat or something. Even though it was beautiful, it was like we tried to stay.
Did you ever get anybody's opinion first and then tell them that it was bacteria
that's
on
a
rotten
funny
meat?
idea.
Yeah.
No, we just launched it at the crew.
We were always very transparent about what we were showing or what we were trying out. And in those sessions, the college project room, sometimes we'd be brainstorming or looking at stuff, and we just like throw images up of things we were finding, and like, what about this? What about that? I remember when we were working on the Diplo ship, Harley kept talking about onion peels, and so we were like, oh, let's look at onions.
Yeah, we had onions on the conference table there. And that kind of mixture of real materials, real organic textures on very simplified shapes was something that we were using quite a bit. It kind of kept it grounded in at least our version of the natural world.
Now, just for fun, which Pixar movie has emotionally wrecked you the most?
Oh.
Which one brings on the waterworks?
Wait, are you talking as an audience or
fans.
as having worked on it?
Yeah, as fans, either or. Whichever one's made you stress cry, I guess that counts too.
For me, the one that wrecked me was Elemental. Like at the end, just as someone who is like first generation, I was like,
Yeah.
it just hit me.
And this movie, I think, will have a strong emotional effect. But Coco, the end of Coco, I worked on it, and they're giving presentations about it. I learned, do not play the last sequence because I'll just be all choked up and crying. There's something so cool, beautiful, touching about all the ancestors all being together at the end.
Last question for you specifically, Harley. I know that you announced to us that you're retiring this week, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
And we brought up how you're working on Ghostbusters 2, and you've worked on so many things, and I was curious, what film in your career, looking back, do you feel like the most proud to be a part of?
I think this Elio is going to be definitely a kind of cap of my career, and but also Ratatouille and Coco. Monsters, Inc. was the first film I did at Pixar, and it was hard, but really satisfying to when the audience really embraced it. So it's hard to pick one, but those four, I guess, are really key to my experience as an working on movies.
Amazing. Well, first off, I love the footage I've seen so far. It's a lot of fun. What's the secret sauce to making space creatures feel emotionally relatable without relying on human facial features? This seems tough.
It's a unique challenge, and we had like 15 to 20 of those. I don't know how many species we have. I should count them. But every single new species was a different challenge because they had different number of limbs or facial features or no face.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried to look at the natural world to kind of like look for inspiration. If it's things that looked a bit like or moved a bit like they could, and built a performance based upon like things that we know on Earth, because who knows what aliens look like.
Was there a particular feature, I should say, that you found it to be the most difficult, like that's missing? What would that be?
Well, we got by without eyes pretty well.
Yeah.
We feel like, a mouth is tricky to go without, I think.
But we did that with Questa.
Really, if a character, as long as a character is able to kind of stretch, squash, like bend over, suggest a head tilt, we're constantly surprising ourselves, like how much we could get these things to emote without kind of the standard features that we're used to relying on.
Nice. Now, do you guys have a character in mind that you think will be most popular with audiences once they have a chance to see the film? Because there's a lot of aliens to choose from.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true, and they're all pretty cute.
I think within the animation team really loved Helix, and I know you haven't seen too much of Helix, but he turned out to be a firm favorite.
Which one's Helix?
Helix has always got that glass of glorp with him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's like the British kind of Ponzi politician type of guy with the little proboscis. He was our favorite, always cracking us up. I think that Glorden is the most universally appealing, probably. Everybody can see their dog in Glorden, or even a kid. His anatomy isn't that of a human kid, but when you see him acting with Elio, it's really, you forget very quickly that these are two totally different looking shapes that are totally vibing with each other.
I feel like Glorden is the obvious choice, but as I was watching it, I was like, I think Ooh might actually be a surprise runner-up there.
Yeah, Ooh's great.
Yeah, and she was a lot of fun to animate. She's so malleable, and so you could do anything with her, and it was a really fun assignment for every time she showed up in a shot.
Yeah, we were begging for more screen time for Ooh.
Now, were there any surprise references that you guys used, whether it's like animals or actors or objects that to nail the personality of certain aliens that like really just kind of took you, like, I'm like surprised that worked?
Yeah, looking, I would say, Ooh's a crazy rig that we were not used to. But as far as Questa, like when you look at her default shape, she looks just kind of like a cobra head or something. And but then when you look at all those underwater creatures that we were kind of trying to figure out, okay, they have these frills, but the edge of this blanket seems to like kind of pass through this shape. How are we going to achieve that? And it took a few really smart people to say, well, here's how we could do it. And here are the controls you would need to do that.
Yep.
And you go, okay, so maybe there are 5 animators on this team who are going to be able to get their heads around this. And then you give them Questa, and then they'll come back with something that's like, whoa, why does this work so well? How did you do that? And surprised even us. It's really kind of magic from our perspective.
After taking your animation class, I feel that way about everything that you guys have done. I'm like, I have no clue how you guys have pulled this off. But it was so nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Great
coming.
to meet you too.
It's nice to see you guys again, and love the footage that we've seen so far. I wanted to know, do you each have a character in mind that you think is going to be really popular with audiences once they get to see it? Who would you be wagering your money on?
Oh man, I hope it's Glorden, because Glorden is so appealing to me, to I think a lot of us, and so core to like the film and Elio's journey. I know people fall in love with Glorden as much as we love him.
Yeah, absolutely. I put my money on Glorden because I fell in love with him as soon as I got on the show. It was like before he was like in 3D or even fully realized, but I thought, yeah, his design and his personality and the voice actor is amazing. So like it really comes to life.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I feel like Gordon's a safe bet. I think that, that's possible. Ernesto, can you walk me through the lighting philosophy behind the communiverse? What, like, as far as like what mood you were chasing?
Yeah,
I don't think I said that right. It's communiverse.
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 Yeah,
all right, I'm gonna get it right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we definitely wanted the communiverse to be a special place for Elio, right? Like Elio is obsessed with aliens. He envisions meeting them one day, and so when he does arrive there, we knew it had to be something magical, something that kind of blew him away, something that also, as amazing as it is, something that made him feel like he's reached like his destination, he's reached home, he's found like his people, and so it's a very colorful place. Like unlike Earth, for him, he's lonely on Earth, so Earth was much more muted lighting and color-wise. But in the communiverse, we wanted to really play up the colors, really make it feel very appealing, joyful. A lot of moments with like ethereal lighting, high-key lighting, pastel lighting, and of course during high stakes, there's more moody lighting, a lot more contrast. But we definitely wanted the communiverse to have its own very signature look that's very different from the rest of the movie.
Now, as far as the communiverse goes, David, I wanted to ask you specifically, what do you think is like special via the space setting of the communiverse that you feel like is going to showcase something that audiences haven't seen before?
Yeah, I think one of the things that that makes the communiverse special to me is that what made it sort of difficult to put together altogether is that it was so open-ended in how it might look, and it was helpful to have some framework to the story to narrow the possibilities down. Like Ernesto was saying, we needed it to contrast from Earth, which was uninviting, but the communiverse to be this vibrant, diverse place that reflected the alien species that were gathering there and the worlds that they may be coming from. But also, I think just sort of mechanically, the communiverse is this thing that's spatial in it's a layered onion, this sphere that has parts in it that move around each other like the inner workings of a clock. And so to think through the function of the space, the design of the space, how it moves around you, how it might look through like a film camera and composed in a shot, but still be vibrant and alive through all of that. I think it makes it kind of a special spot.
Were there any other sci-fi influences or inspirations? Because I really can't think of anything specifically that reminded me of what you guys have done with it.
Yeah, I think what makes the communiverse special is that it's because of its like sort of United Nations nature, it draws from a lot of different inspiration. And I think existing films and sci-fi locations is one of those ingredients. Another one is biological phenomenon that we see in the world around us, things like coral and macrophotography of fungi. But I think in a lot of ways there are also common sci-fi depictions of space that we wanted to avoid too, and I think that all really helped us sort of navigate and land in a place where the communiverse feels unique, like you're saying.
Now, last question for you both, just for fun: which Pixar movie has just emotionally wrecked you the most?
That'd probably be Up for me.
The opening montage?
Yeah.
God, every time.
It's like, no matter how many times you watch it, it tugs on your strings.
It's beautiful, but I hate it so much at the same time.
For me, it's the ending of Coco, when Miguel comes back to his Mama Coco's room and locks himself in there, and they're singing "Remember Me" together. That's what gets me.
Just brings the waterworks.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.